All right, so the last video we talked about was the drive system. I want to quickly move to where we're at with the hatch slash shell. So, the hatch. Why do we need a hatch? We need a hatch because we have a driving sphere that needs to allow drones to get out of it. So, some ideas for a hatch that we had in the beginning was essentially what you think of when you think of a hatch on a sphere, which that has a lot of challenges, Where does the hinge go? The surface of this sphere needs to be smooth, so where does that go? And you know, if I put a hinge on the outside of this, am I going to damage that when I roll around? Or, you know, how do drones get out of a hatch like that? They would have to fly up a little and then fly out and then fly up and then go to their destination. There's a lot with that, so we decided that's not a good idea. Some other designs, if this makes sense. This is more of a exotic type of idea, but imagine the bottom of this sphere stays whole and the top of the sphere is like a flower almost, and it would open up like this and allow for drones to fly straight up. Problem with this is the seams. We would like this to be as sealed as possible, and hopefully one of our goals is to have this thing be able to float so we can drive on all different terrains, including over lakes, over water, anything. So too many seams and too complicated. There's too many moving parts in this. Our current idea is a side splitting drone. So that's not even our official name. That's just the thing I'm calling it right now. So imagine here's our pin, and I'm going to refer to this type of a drawing most of the time. This is our solid sphere with a pin running through the center. You would have a seam that goes right down the middle, and when opened up, you would have your platform here, which is also the exact same length as the diameter of the sphere. So here's your pin. Here's your pin. Here's your plate. Here's it opened. Drones would be here. Drones could fly up and out. Get out of this thing. So this is our current idea, and this is the direction we're probably going to go. So right now our sphere looks like a soccer ball. So I imagine that this will actually be pieces to a puzzle if we were to continue with the soccer ball idea. You would have pieces of the soccer ball coming out and coming back together. The problem with this design, if we had a perfect circle, is can you imagine what happens when I'm closed, when I go to close and I go to close this and I'm on the ground? I'm just gonna pile up dirt and suck up dirt into this, or wherever I may be. Whatever it is, this thing, when it goes to close, is just going to smash my ground into my sphere. So we had an idea of kicking the sphere off to the side, then bringing it in, then closing it up, or only opening it where it actually like first opens like this, then opens up and closes with that same orientation. But our current so one thing that I kind of thought up was, and I haven't even presented this to many people, is each one of our soccer ball shapes, each piece of the soccer ball be an inflated bubble. So the bubble can be inflated or deflated, or just constantly inflated, or maybe even a foam that just has some deformation to it or something. That would move us off of the ground. So each one of these things essentially is a bubble. We would be moving away from a complete sphere, and we'd be going into more of a think of like an overinflated soccer ball, sort of. So then each one of the shapes is like its own little bubble. So that's where we're at right now with the hatch. Next video, or actually I could probably just talk about the plate right now. The plate is this little portion right here. The challenge is keeping this thing level while moving across the terrain. That is the biggest challenge. When I drive this thing forward, I want that plate to just be like that the entire time. We talked about making it heavy in order to keep it like that. Say like rollers along this with a smooth interior. And if I'm heavy enough, I can just, it wants to always just stay in its center of gravity. And it wants to maintain that level flight, essentially. So that's where we're at. I just wanted to catch you guys up on the project so far, and if anyone has any questions, comments, inputs, anything, feel free to comment.